Alright, we're going to spray a little Bondo here. And I saw where the Euban was asking H.O. Anthony about some metal glaze and what it was for, why you'd use it and all that stuff. And metal glaze is sort of fill the scratch in the Bondo. A lot of guys will finish with 80 grit with the Bondo. It's easier to make it straight in 80, and then they'll glaze it with the metal glaze and finish that with the finer grit. But it's good to use. I've worked at a couple shops where they make you use that, and they want the repair completely sealed off with the metal glaze. And if there's an edge or a metal showing or paint that's not feathered, they didn't like that kind, and we always finish the repair off with metal glaze. A lot of times the metal glaze you don't need it if the Bondo's better quality. It's mainly for filling pinholes and scratches, and the better Bondo seems to eliminate the need for it. And metal glaze is pretty expensive. I think it's around 45 bucks, $37 for a little squeezy bottle of that stuff. You always want to make sure that if you are going to use base coat, clear coat on your car, I say C-Grip's about as cheap as you want to go. You want to make sure that it says Metal Works on it. That means that it's base coat, clear coat safe. And it's in the Metal Works family. They have Bondo that is cheaper. The $12 and $8 Bondo is not compatible with base coat, clear coat. It's made for like single stage acrylic enamel, stuff like that. The urethane reducers are too aggressive for the hardeners and the different filler components that are in that Bondo, and a lot of times you'll get ringing or yellowing, and this Metalworks family eliminates that scare. And the Z-Grip has miracle sanding in it, whatever that is. I use Z-Grip on the used car lot stuff, and then if I'm doing something a little nicer, I'll step up to the Rage Gold there, or the Matrix filler. The Matrix filler seems to get a few more pinholes than the Evercoat does, depending on how you spread and what the temperature is and all that stuff. You can get a few pinholes with this, where this doesn't seem to get the pinholes quite as bad. They're both around the same price. This is a little cheaper. I do believe this is probably made by Evercoat. You can see the top of the can on this one, and the top of the can on the Rage Gold. The instruction sticker there is very similar. But anyway, and if you're doing any welding, or if you put a panel on or whatever, I always like to do a little wipe with the fiberglass, reinforced fiberglass filler. It's watertight, and it'll keep the moisture from intruding through the back of the panel, through the welds and stuff like that. And it seems to be a little extra insurance. Quick wipe with that, and then finish it off with the mud. So let's open some of this stuff, mix this up. It's late. I don't know if I'm going to get this car primed tonight, but I got to get some Bondo on it at least, so I can hit it in the morning, sand it, and get this thing primed and out of here. That's not going to work. It sticks too fat. This one will work. Anyway, hopefully this isn't too boring. See, we got the epoxy primer debate going again, and Matt said he was trying some new things, and I'm not, in the position to try a lot of new things. I'm not in the workplace, so anything that I'm exposed to will be Matrix. And Matrix really doesn't have anything new. They had the direct metal primer, which I did try, and I put it on a couple cars, and then when I read the fine print, it said don't use it on a size bigger than your hand. And that's usually about the size of repair that they like to warranty, in case something goes wrong. They like to limit it to the size of your hand. And then fine print was like, if it's bigger than the size of your hand, you should probably use the etch and carry on with the repair. So I have experimented on the car lot. I always do stuff there that I wouldn't do other places. And I don't use etch there. I don't use epoxy there. I use 2K primer. I put it right over the bare steel and let it fly. on repairs. Now I got a hood that's bare metal. Actually, to the E-coat, it's not technically bare metal. Very rarely do you go all the way to the steel unless you take a grinder to it. I stripped it with 80 grit, and you can see when you sand through that protective E-coat layer. I'm going to set you guys down. But anyway, this is going to be a lot of Bondo. You guys don't get nervous. I could technically probably just go right over it with sealer, but I'll probably throw a little etch down, then I'll go to the 2-part sealer and then right to paint. And that sealer's a wet on wet. So, like I said, don't be scared. It's a Honda and it's rusty, got dents. And when I worked this deal out, it was to repair a fender and paint a car for $800 worth of tires, and this turned into much more than a fender, and I ended up having to strip all the paint off the car because it was bad. The car's loaded with dents and rust, and I was just at the point now where I need to push through this, get it done, and get it out of here. So that's why we're out here, and I'm the only one that's going to get this stuff done. So I did get the little work done on the motor over there. Just got to do a couple things to it in the morning, and that one will be just about wrapped up. We got another carburetor body coming for it. That'll be next week sometime. Right now I'm going to concentrate on getting some of this stuff out of here. Try to get this convertible out of here, the Bug and the Honda. Free my shop up. I'd like to come out here and work on the Nova and enjoy coming out in the building. It's to the point now where I don't like coming out here because I'm not working on my stuff, you know. And it just gets discouraging sometimes. And now I just need to get it done, get it out of here, and move on. This guy didn't want to do any extra repair. He's not prepared to pay for any extra materials or anything, so I had to bite the bullet on this one. And got a little extra money now, and I'll finish it up. But I got $800 in materials probably after I buy the clear and the paint and Bondo and primer, sealer. Had to rebuild the window frame. That wasn't supposed to be bad. And fiberglass, welding that up, all that stuff takes time, you know, so you lose your ass. It looks pretty good. Let's figure out how to carry you guys. And I'll put you on the stand in here. Hope I can get around the car with all this mud. No gloves. Need gloves. Out of gloves. Set that right there for a minute. Get you guys up here. I'm gonna slap this fender up here. We'll start at the front and work our way around. A little mud on the hood. This fender was KO'd. The other side was KO'd. let's see. Another dent there. So a couple of them. Little peener dents. And another wipe to the other side. Woohoo! And there was light. I don't know if that helps or hurts. Light's sort of funny with the camera. Alrighty, there we go. A little wipe here and there. We got a little more. Mix another batch up. Go around it one more time and should have it. Little dents everywhere. What are you gonna do? Of course, he's like, oh, don't worry about all that little stuff, but all that little stuff adds up and makes it look like crap, so. All right. So there we go. We got the couple little wipes that we had to make there. And it's gonna take probably one more wipe, two more wipes. Got the front of the hood wipe there. Got a couple dents on the hood. And we just made a fender up here out of Bondo, because you can't get fenders for these, you can't buy them, and that sucks, but that's just how it is sometimes. I'm gonna wipe this off, cut my line. It's always easier when the Bondo is wet to do that. So there we go, our gap's looking pretty good. We'll get that a block with some 80, and this little car is on its way out the door. Anyway, got it all taped up today. Pretty nice little tape job there, I would say. And let's hit these couple of spots, and maybe by the middle of the week we'll get some color on this one. The humidity's out through the roof today, 60 degrees, 1,000,000% breathing water here. So that's where we're at. That's what's going on. Yahooben. The metal glaze is fine. It is easy to sand. Sometimes it can be a little sticky if it's cold out. Take a rag with some lacquer thinner and wipe it off before you start sanding. That takes the sticky off. I got some other stuff here we'll get into. I wanted to show you some of this stuff that PPG offers. This is some metal conditioners they have. I'll show you some of this stuff. Some of this stuff's really good stuff. It's a cleaner for cleaning the metal before you prime it. And This one's for aluminum. This funky looking stuff here actually etches the aluminum before you prime it. So it's like a wash etch. But anyway, that's what's going on here. Didn't get a whole lot done because it rained all day long. Probably go in and watch a little bit of the circle track race there. I know the drag race is on. I like that kind, so I'm recording that one. We got the broken bolt drilled out and repaired there. So we'll move on with this. We're gonna get the rest of the sheet metal built and build our fan, and we'll get the fan housing on tomorrow. And I got to put the distributor drive gear here in next. This is the drive gear that drives the distributor off the timing gear. These are the 3 shims. A lot of guys put these in before they put the case apps together, but I wasn't taught that way. I was taught to do it the dangerous way. Squirt a little oil down in there, slide these down on a screwdriver, center off on a hole, grab those with some snap ring pliers, position the line exactly where you want it so you can get the distributor pointing towards number 1 and the condenser in the right location. Drop it down in there, and then you're ready to go. Now I can put the fuel pump in, because this is what the drive gear on the fuel pump rides off of, this surface right here. It's sort of high on one side, low on the other. It's got the pump duration and everything built into that little ramp there. Pretty cool design. Volkswagen was pretty cool. But anyway, that's what we're doing. Got the new fan there, got the sheet metal for the fan, and got the new fuel pump. We'll get that done tomorrow and get this off the stand. I'll get Hans to help me get this down tomorrow when he gets home from school. And we'll hook the tranny and stuff up to it. I figured out what carburetor has the JB weld on it. Let me see if it's the right or the left here. It's the take a look here. There's the JB weld right there. So this is the 1 and 2 side. 1 and 2 side, Ken, if you're watching this, that would be the passenger side of the car. Carburetor right there. So like I said, I haven't put any fuel in these. I'm suspecting that there's a leak. That's why the JB weld's there. I don't really see a hole. But I'm going to put a little of that marine JB weld on the bottom of this just so we can fire it up and get it tuned. And then he's got to get that carburetor body shipped in, and we'll replace that for him before it leaves. So that's what's going on with that. It's just about done. It's a nice looking little motor there. Should be a real nice piece. Very similar to probably like a 0 mile scat motor. Except this has got ported heads on it, you know. Well, you can't really, I don't think you can buy a long block with decent ported heads. Maybe a CB Performance engine kit. But yeah. And earlier I said that I think I might have got the wrong guy. Those heads, the heads that went bad were the PC4s, and Fred Simpson was the guy that was making those. And he's the one that was talking to Scooter about those castings. About him having to refund everybody for those. Everything he sent out came back. So yeah, I'm gonna go and shut this off. Hope everybody had a good day. It was good to get some guys started up with the epoxy thing. I know that always gets people going, and it's always good to open those debates up, because I'm not in the everyday, you know. I'm using Matrix, and I'm doing it right out of the book. And right now, Matrix is still using the edge primer with the on the bare metal situation, and I don't use the epoxy a whole lot because I just don't see the value in it, other than a sealer. I like it for a sealer every once in a while, because you know, if I got a little too much metal for the 124, I do have more confidence in the epoxy, of course, than the 124 sealer to grab steel. So you know, I'll use it every once in a while like that. But 95% of the time I'm laying the etch down first, and it's cheaper than the epoxy, so that's another reason to use it. I did try some of that new primer. I think I told you that, and I'm willing to try anything. I'm not on brand loyal. You can look through the cabinet and see that there's a little bit of everything. I've had guys that wanted me to try some shop line, and I went out and bought some of that and tried that. And the Omni, I have a friend that's using the Omni Clear and he likes that, and that's fine too. You know, some guys think that it makes me mad when you use a different product, but it really doesn't, because there's a clear for everybody out there. We got the Silver Sail, we got the AG40, we've got the 42, we got the 52, the 30, the 78, and those all work good for me. My favorite is the 78, but I do realize that there's going to be guys out there that make YouTube videos that don't use matrix, and that doesn't bother me. And it doesn't bother me if you don't use it on your car and you're a friend of mine, because you got to use what's available to you and what you're comfortable with, because if you're not comfortable with something and you're having to force yourself to learn how to use it, then the results won't be good. We all know that. So it's always good to use whatever you're comfortable with, and you know, do it the way that you're going to be responsible for your own repair, basically, you know, if you're doing it in your garage. So you have to decide whether you want to become a chemist and you know, vary from the instructions, or if you want to do it the way the manufacturer suggests. But the bottom line is 9 times out of 10, if you're doing a repair in your garage, you're not going to have any kind of warranty anyway, because the warranty deal is pretty strict. You know, when you read through it, you got to have hospital air. You know, you can't have a bunch of moisture in your air. There's a bunch of criteria to meet, and there's procedures that you have to follow to put that warranty program in place. So that's another thing to consider. You know, if you're doing it on your own, more than likely you're not going to get the support of the manufacturer ever. That's usually reserved for shops and stuff like that. Now, if you buy something from me, it's 100% warranted. You know, I'll take care of it, and that's a responsibility that I take dealing with people that are learning how to do it. That's why I make the videos, to try to get you at a good starting point where you can use the product and have good luck and not fail. You know, that's the whole idea behind making the different videos and stuff. So anyway, I'll let this kick off. It's a little cool. It's already starting to kick, so that's good. And yeah, that's a little lumpy there, but we'll make that work. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. Just got to make it go away. You can make it go away. I want my garage back. Just think, if I didn't have people's cars in here, I'd only have 2 cars myself in here, the Nova and my race car. I could bring my bus back inside. It's outside under the carport that leaks. It's got a cover on it, but yeah, I'd love to come out in the garage and just see my cars and be able to make progress on some of my stuff finally. You know, I just cheat myself every time I tell somebody I'll do something. But I'm winding it up. I really want to get this car done. It's been cool watching Matt and Angel and Jim get their Nova all done, and all the other guys, Rick Fix, everybody that's working on Novas out there, you know, stone for a ball. Everybody's making progress, and mine's sitting back here in the Bermuda Triangle. So I need to get in gear. I'm gonna have to redo all this black now, but at least it's protected and it's not deteriorating other than the dust. So I find the best rust protection is paint, you know, personally, as a painter. They seem to stop rotting once you put paint on them, and as long as you don't have air that has a bunch of water in it, you know. You ever seen those cars that have little dots all in them? That's from having water or air that's contaminated. So yeah, but the paint seems to be the stop all for the rust. I don't care how good the primer is, or whether you use epoxy etch or whatever. If you leave it exposed, all that stuff is pretty porous, and it does wick in the moisture. You know, the paint is what seals that off. Now, the old school argument always was the epoxy was a barrier from the elements to the steel. It was more of an absolute candy wrapper to the metal. But I don't know if that's true. I've got etch on this, and I've got epoxy in places. We didn't etch this car. If you remember, we used the PPG epoxy direct to the steel on this, and it's rusting away, boys. And if you look back in the videos, you can see it is the PPG epoxy. And everywhere it was sitting outside and the water set on it and got into it and wicked into it, it rusted. And I'd expect that. You can't really leave this kind of stuff outside and expect to have any kind of results unless you put paint on it. Because if you looked at primer and if you looked at the different types of fillers and stuff, they're very porous under a microscope. And when you introduce water, it's a real issue. That's the other thing. We talked about that polyester filler. I know Matt likes to use that, the feather fill type stuff. Takes the MEK hardener, and it's basically sprayable Bondo. I've just recently started using that again, and it was on Matt's suggestion, or James Redding. I don't know which one suggested using it, but I know one of them. I want to say maybe it was even Jeff. I don't know why I call him James, Jeff. Classic cars, muscle cars. But anyway, he was using the feather fill, doing his block with that, making it straight, and it made good sense. The stuff's super hard, and when you mix it, it makes a super hard puck. I did work at a shop. I worked at a Honda place. It wasn't a Honda place, but we did a dealership, and Orlando got hailed really bad back in the early 90s. We got a really bad hailstorm here, and it just destroyed almost every car on every car lot. And we ended up fixing a bunch of new Hondas. And I was a painter for this go around. You know, I was pretty young at it. I wasn't a real experienced painter. And back then, I just pretty much did what I was told. You sort of listened to the body men. They were the gods in the shop, and the painters were the dirt bags. Because all we needed was a buffer, a DA, and I forget what other tool a painter needs. Oh, a paint gun. Any body man will tell you that. But anyway, we started fixing these cars, and the hail damage was so bad that they were putting quarters, doors, fenders, hoods, deck lids, and pretty much the only panel that they were straightening was the roof. And we were using Sikkens at the time, and they had a product called Poly Surfacer. And the body men were hitting the roof with 150 grit on the Bondo hog, and then they'd bring it back to the paint shop, and we'd hammer that poly surfacer on there, and then they'd give it a block, and then they'd bring it back to us, and then we'd prime it and paint it. But being unexperienced and being in shortcut mode, being that it was a commission job, and it wasn't a very high-paying commission job either, so the hours were important to get, and they wanted the stuff super quick too. And the guys from Sikkens recommended wet sanding that stuff and sealing it instead of priming it, and I did that. I don't know, to a lot of cars, and the other painter was doing the same thing, and they started coming back cracked like the desert. And I think it was a reaction from the water wicking into the polyester, sprayable polyester, getting trapped under there and lifting it off. I don't know, but that was my first experience with that stuff. But the Evercoat stuff's worked really good for me. I've used it on a couple projects now. I did some sharks, some statues and stuff, and they were really crappy, the fiberglass finish on them. And I used some of that stuff and it worked really well. And it does go on pretty thick. I know the MP3 primer that Matrix sells is, almost as thick. I don't know if it's quite as hard as that polyester is. And it's seems to be a pretty solid foundation to put down and start with. So I know there's a couple guys that are doing it that process. And I want to say you can use either over bare steel or over etch primer. It does say that in their YouTube videos that they have out there. They've got some pretty good videos. Evercoat does. If you type in Evercoat, they've got some good product demonstrations and stuff like that. That's another good place to find some information. You just have to watch it. A lot of times the information varies from supplier to supplier. I've been trying to grab every shop that I can that I see. Like I said, I put over there in the garage times, and some of those guys are pretty established, and I like their finished results, so sometimes I watch their process. And I think that's the whole thing with YouTube. A lot of times some of us old dogs, we're not learning as much as some of you guys are. I'm not saying that it's not a benefit, but the lessons come a little slower, and a lot of times it's just seeing people do a different technique or doing something that might catch your eye, if you're an old guy, you know, or you see some of the young guys like Matt that are turning out some really nice work. And that's why I told Matt, you know, he said he's trying some new things, and I'm sure there's more than just me that are interested in the new stuff, you know. So if you're out there and you're in a shop and you're using some of the new products, you know, that make it a little quicker, show those to us. You know, I know there's a couple guys that got shops that are making videos, and I think the guys that are the professionals out there working in the shops are the guys that a lot of us look up to on YouTube. And a lot of guys that make the, you know, videos, sometimes just because they don't get views, they feel like people don't respect the content that they put up. But that's far from the truth. A lot of times it's not the content in your video that's not getting the views, it's just where the video is placed by YouTube. So some of you guys that are making videos that aren't getting a bunch of views, that have really good content, don't get discouraged, and keep putting the videos up. I've noticed a lot of guys that put the painting videos up, they're like silent movies, and sometimes there's a language barrier with some of those guys, but sometimes it's just guys aren't comfortable running their mouth in front of the camera. But guys really like it when the painters talk and give a little input and give a little build up to the spraying. You know, painting, it's 10% of the process, 90% of it's prepping it and making sure that you have everything ready to go. And I don't think that changes no matter what you use. It's all in the prep work for sure. And if you don't do the prep work, it shows in the final results. You know, it's just like the used cars that I do. I mean, you know, when I'm prepping them in 10 minutes, you can look at the panel and find chips and stuff. You know, it's not like this car over here, you know, where there's not a dent in the panel and there's no chips and there's no scratches and there's no nothing, you know. You don't get that in 10 minutes. So anyway, let me shut this off. It's getting long. I'm an expert at making these long ass videos, 32 minutes. Woohoo! So yeah, we'll get back on this Honda, try to get you guys tuned back into some body work. And I noticed Dave Mill put up a video. Go check him out. It's working on his little TR there back in the shop. It's always good to see some of the guys that have been hibernating over the winter come back and start making some videos. So it's going to be good to see some of those guys. We're missing John. Haven't seen John in a while, and there's a couple of you guys that are dealing with the cold right now. Tom's Wonderful World. He said he hasn't been doing much. And you guys go say hi to Tommy Shoe over there. He's having some really bad luck with the snow. He's tearing his place up. He got the weatherhead ripped off his building, and his carport collapsed. And you know, even though some of us got insurance, when stuff like that happens, it's a lot on a person's mind. And it doesn't hurt to have some friends when you're going through stuff like that. So go over there and say hi and give them some encouragement. And I saw one of the comments on that video, and the guy just said he didn't know what to say, and I really didn't have anything to type either. Being dyslexic, I'm sort of limited, and what can you say when a guy has to go through what he's been going through lately? It's like it just won't stop. So don't forget to you know, support each other, do the right thing, and all that good stuff. So we'll turn this on tomorrow. Got a hood to do, and we'll do more Honda. And hopefully we'll get this painted this week.